I don't think that's gonna work. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Flat Thunder channel. My name's Andy, and this is the 3-ton ratcheting Arbor Press that we featured in a previous video. We did some unboxing on that and some initial thoughts, impressions, and one quick test. In that video, we never finished mounting it to a solid surface. We just sat her up on the workbench. In this video, we're going to try to come up with a more solid mount where you can actually apply some force to this unit. Stick with us, I'll show you what we're going to get into. Step 1, always remove this lever so you don't hit yourself in the head and or have it fall out, trip you, etc. while moving this guy. And then you want to make sure you don't pinch your fingers. This is probably a glove-worthy move. Yep, it's heavy. The bracket that the Arbor Press was sitting on is the one that we're going to affix it to, and then we're going to take that bracket and we're going to affix it to the pallet rack, largely because we can't drill into the concrete floor here. We have PEX tubing in the floor, so we need to affix it to a post. The most logical point to affix something to, in my opinion, is the pallet rack. It's heavy, it's always got heavy stuff on it, and it's also attached to the posts. So if that pallet rack comes over, you got a really big problem. Here it is. Has a nice flat top. It's got some holes in it. Dad did make a slice here when he was starting to modify it for one of his needs, slash remove it and just cut it up. We're going to need to repair that. Looks like it has some nice, relatively heavy tube structure, some formed sheet metal, Seems like a pretty robust bracket. So this bracket is one of those things that you only ever see or notice if you're one of two things. One, if you're a dentist, and two, if you're spending a lot of time in the dentist office getting dental work done. This is actually part of the dentist chair where they would have all the equipment, I believe the water and the air inlet, and probably like the counter levered lights and things of that nature. So this actually supported that. Can you feel the tears of small children and grown adults? I don't like getting my mouth drilled on. So anyways, let's get this thing up. Let's make some modifications and repurpose it so we can use it instead of throwing it away. Here we go. This is a Ritter Midwest Cybron 210. Yeah, listed dental equipment. Some transfer punch holes right there, or dimples. That's where the holes to mount the Arbor Press are. Then we have some lines here. We need to slot this out so you can press through. First thing we're going to do is get in here and clean up this slice that Dad already started to make so we can get that re-welded back and make it one solid piece again. Good enough for me. Not a welder, but welded, kind of melted metal together. We have pencil lines on there, but we're going to hit it with the silver streak here just to try to highlight it. I think what we originally thought or wanted to do was just go to this radius here that's already in the plate. So the manual calls for way less amps, but experience is previously you dial it up higher and you just move faster. So we got about 40 psi and set at 60 amps. Let's get our glasses and gloves on there and go zip, zip, and kind of zip, zip. Get that out of there. And then we got some holes we have to drill back there. Not too hateful. Super fast. Touch it up a little bit, and we'll be good to go. I just can't get over how convenient that plasma cutter is. We don't have it on a cart yet. We just have it sitting on the mobile welding station. The plug is over there. I didn't want to move enough stuff to move the cart. I just picked it up, carried it over there, plugged it in, hooked up the ground clamp, the torch, and we were ready to rock and roll. Super convenient. Very impressed with it. But I need to know what the correct shade number is so you can actually see what you're doing, but then not blind yourself. I was using a shade number 5, and after I was done, I felt like maybe that was just a little too bright. Luckily, it was just a real quick zip through there. Not that that's an excuse. You want to make sure you're using the right shade. I'm a little afraid if I go a whole lot darker, I won't be able to see what the heck I'm doing. So those guys with experience, drop down in the comment section. Let me know what the best shade number is to protect your eyes and let you still see what you're doing. This is what we're looking at. We got just a little bit of rough edges there. We just nicked the side of the tube there. Over there we're just, I don't know, 1/8 inch that way of it. So just clean that up a little bit. For being really my first real cut for a project, I'm really happy with the results. I probably could have turned it down a little bit and went slower, but that's going to put a lot more heat into this piece and also take longer. So yeah, need some practice and skill on the technique there. Got the old oil can a friend of mine gave me. These things are cool. Just a little drip. Did you notice something goofy about these holes? I thought I screwed up on these mounting holes. Yeah, they're kind of staggered. But wait, that's because they're staggered on the Arbor Press too. This one's quite a bit, a whole hole that way. Yeah. What do you know, they line up. It's a good thing we transfer punched those and didn't try to measure them. I don't want to use the bolts that came with the Arbor Press and the shipping container to mount it permanently to our stand. They were bent from shipping and, well, they were probably grade 0 quality. So stopped by the local farm store, picked up some goodies. I don't normally stock bolts this long, but this is a 3/8 inch bolt that's 4 inches long, and that just does the trick for our mounting. I also stumbled across these little turnbuckles and an idea flashed in my head. Let's go over there and see if this is going to work out as I thought it might. These things were like $4 a piece. If you didn't know how they work, I can't do it with 2 hands, but when each end is fixed, you turn the turnbuckle and it moves twice the distance because one end is left-handed threads. Be pretty cool if this works. What I kind of envision, obviously down lower, but hooking it to the side of the beam at a downward angle and using it to hold the back side of this back and down due to the angle. Now if I can get something like that, I think that would be ideal. Get one on each side, but there's already a hole here in the corner. And I think if I just run a drill through there to open that up a little bit, it'll allow us to angle that down further, kind of like something there, and then we can pin back into the pallet racking itself. We just put this rod in here temporarily. It's actually too long. And then we just snugged up our turnbuckles by hand. Let's give our initial test to see if this is going to work at all. Full body weight, except for my toes. And I don't think it's gone anywhere. May put a shim out here under this end. 1/2 inch bar stock here. We're going to cut it to length and drill some holes for some quick release spring pins. There we go. I was going to cut it to length and put 2 spring clips, but I think I'm going to bend the end so I have something to hold on to pull it out. Torch, yes. My bench vise is not going to like that. And we're going to break something. So let's try something different. I think if we have a pointed die attachment, we can put this in here and bend this just with the torque or the force of the Arbor Press. But what we need that's missing is the pointed die to go in the end of the ram here. So this could go one of many ways. We're going to try to make our pointed die really quick out of this old piece of scrap stock we have here. It's not really set in there precise. It's not really locked on there that great. Hopefully it doesn't come whipping out of there. We set it up with a carpentry square for 45. So we'll get 2 45s, which will make a 90-degree point eyeball. Let's see what she's going to do. Yeah, that didn't work. Broken cutter. There you have it. A little interesting process getting there. We need a little deburring here. Definitely not perfect, but we should have a 90-degree shape there. And to connect this down so it'll fit in the ram of the Arbor Press. So here's our piece. Basically a die which should have a 90-degree angle here on the end. We kind of eyeball spotted that and just used the swivel on the vise. After we had a really crappy setup there in the beginning, grabbed the hold of it with the end mill and just destroyed an end mill in the process. After we learned how to swivel the vise and do it the right way, I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place. That's the first time we swiveled the vise, so I had to mill down the retaining bolts, got the vise swiveled, and we got it milled 45 each side. Turned the OD and then turned down a little nub so we can stick it up in the ram here. Of course, I got overly excited and got it stuck in there. Everything was machined right, but there were some burrs from the threads that you had to clean out, so I had to get in there and drill that out. Now, comes in and out freely. I think in the future I may adjust this piece and add some flats so I can use a wrench on it or adjustable wrench to get it out and maybe even index it. I'm also going to heat treat this, get it cherry red hot and quench it in some oil. But until we determine if we're going to make any changes to it, we're not going to harden it just yet. Come on, baby. Woohoo! It did it. I had to add in a jack handle for extra leverage, but it didn't rip off the pallet jack, or it didn't rip off the pallet rack with this sit up, and it cold formed our pin to retain it. So we're gonna go over to the bench vise and lop that off with the old hacksaw. Here's our completed new quick disconnect pin. We used the Arbor Press and the tooling it's still hot. We used the Arbor Press and the new tooling piece that we made for it to make this bin, and I am super happy with it. Let's just get in here, disconnect those turnbuckles to show you how easy it is, because we have the old temporary shaft in there. Slide it out, slide it back in, and get our new pin in there. And it's that easy to slide out the Arbor Press. That way you can get in here and get access to anything you need to, or you can move it around if you need to for any other reason. Now we did bend the temporary shaft that was in there to hold these turnbuckles, but it's a much smaller size. Let's get her slid back in position. Now what do I do with the new pin? Here we go. Oh, there it is. We got a functional Arbor Press. All right, I am super excited about that. We got the old fabrication that we saved from Dad's dentist office remodel, and basically had it free. It's a free fabrication / stand with a couple modifications. Super happy with that, and I'm super happy to have a functional Arbor Press in the shop. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, leave your questions and comments in that section below, and don't forget to punch that subscribe button your way out. Thanks for watching, everyone.